let's get into today's class. The secret to happiness, or the secrets to happiness. You know? Just by show of hands, who wants to be sad? Who wakes up in the morning thinking, oh God, please let me be sad today. I always want to be sad. Please, if you want to be sad, if you wake up in the morning thinking, I wish I'm sad today, or if you're praying to God, please let me be sad today, please raise your hands. Nobody? Okay. Who wants to be happy? Fundamentally, most people want to be happy. You know? It's almost an intrinsic nature of who we are, is to be happy. You know? So there's a nice saying that I came across. Everybody wants to be happy. You know? Nobody wants pain, but you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. You know? And so this is what we're going to look at today, and especially in this class, is the secret to happiness. We're going to look at lots of secrets to happiness, but there's one open secret that's available to everybody that sometimes we overlook. You know? So we're going to look at secrets to happiness, but focusing on one open secret, you know? Which maybe all of us know. But to understand this, we're going to have to start at a starting point. You know? And this is where we begin, is that to help us understand this diagram is to understand this quote. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I'll say it again, very important. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Right? A very famous quote, a quote that appears in the late Steve Jobs' boardroom. No? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Now, if I could ask, what does that mean? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Would anybody like to try? There's a clue. It's in this picture here. That this is your comfort zone, and the magic happens outside your comfort zone. You know? Would anybody like to guess what this means? Or what it means to you? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. Anybody? You want to talk? People need an easy way out? Possibly. Let's do this. Let's analyze what culture means, and let's analyze what strategy means. All right? So in order to explain this, I'll give an example or an analogy of two birds. So there's two birds. Right? Once upon a time, there's a baby bird and there's a mother bird. All right? As you can see in our picture. Right? So the baby bird hasn't yet left the nest. A nestling, very young, very fragile. So obviously the baby bird hasn't flown yet, right? And so naturally the baby bird is a little afraid. It's a little anxious. And so the baby bird turns to the mother, and the baby bird tells the mother, "Mother, Mommy, I'm afraid. What if I fail? I'm afraid. What if I fail?" And the mother turns to the baby bird very lovingly, and the mother says something very interesting. With her wings around the little baby bird, her little infant, she tells the bird, "Oh my darling, what if you fly?" Getting the point? What if you fly? So this is what I'd like for us to take from this class. There's a Latin word called carpe diem. Carpe diem. Anybody knows what it means? Carpe diem. Tricia says you only live once, which is close. Directly translated, carpe diem means seize the day. No? So, in one sense, seize the day, because why live in regret? No? So, coming back to our statement of, anybody remember our statement we made in the last slide? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Right? So let's look at culture. Right? When we say culture, what do we mean by culture? No? So culture is the lens by which we perceive reality. Culture is a way of doing things. It's a way of interacting with the world. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of analyzing or analysis of our environment. No? And I'll give you an example. In this room now, how many of us are wearing shoes now, currently? How many of us have a pair of shoes on our feet? Why does nobody have shoes on their feet now? That is the culture. No? A culture is an ubiquitous, all-pervasive force that you don't even have to be told for culture to affect you. No? Why does nobody have shoes on? Because the shoes are outside. Was there a sign saying, take off your shoes? But if you saw a few pairs there, then you understood. I take off my shoes. No? That is how culture works. No? So culture is the lens by which you perceive reality. Culture. I think we all understand culture. No? Strategy. What is strategy? Planning, right? A plan of action, no? An intelligent, rational, ranked, and ordered way to systematically do something, no? So coming back to our quote, which is? Culture eats strategy for breakfast, no? So, eat strategy for breakfast means the culture that you imbibe affects the way you perceive and see reality, no? If you wear dark glasses, you see reality as dark. If you wear pink glasses, you see reality as pink, no? Because reality is a subjective experience for us, no? So the culture that you imbibe, the culture that you eat for breakfast, affects the way you interact with yourself, the way you interact with everybody around you. It affects everything you do, you say, you see, no? This is how culture affects all of us, no? So this way, whatever we eat every day, whatever we ingest, whatever we put inside of us, in terms of what we see, how we think, how we interact with people, it affects us. And it affects the way we interact with ourselves and with others, no? So today, we're going to look at how to eat uplifting culture, how to live in such a way that you raise your consciousness, how to eat a spiritual culture, no? Not a religious culture, but a spiritual culture, no? Fundamentally, what we're teaching is a science, the science of the soul, the science of self-realization. Yes? And so, this is what we're searching for in life, no? Happiness. Yeah? And all creatures are searching for it, from the smallest ant to the biggest industrialist, you know? You can, if you notice ants, that if you drop like a grain of sugar or something on the floor, a little ant is coming, he picks it up, he's carrying the cube of sugar, and he wants to enjoy that sugar, no? Everybody is seeking for happiness, no? So we can look at a few secrets of happiness. And one of them is that you're only as sick as your secret. You're only as sick as your secret. You know? One of the secrets to happiness is that, or how to overcome sadness in your life, is not to run away from your problems, but to face your problems head on. A lot of the time, we are sad in this life, or we can't have sustained happiness because our focus is the problem. So if you focus on your problems get bigger. So one of the secrets to happiness is you have to focus on the solution, which is what we're going to try to show today. Not to focus on your problem, but focus on the solution. One, to admit to yourself and to others that you have a problem. Half your battle is won. Yeah? Just simply by acknowledging to yourself and to others that you have a problem, half the battle is solved. And so most of the time in life, we run away from our problems. It's easier to put the TV on and become a zombie in front of the television, or social media, Facebook, or what I like to call Facebook. YouTube. So many unhealthy ways of not dealing with the problem, because it's scary to look at the monsters that reside within your heart, no? Because they tell us that the monsters are only under your bed, no? But when you become introspective and you look at yourself, when you go within, then you start to realize, hold on, there's monsters in myself also, no? So you're only as sick as your secret. So many of us suffer with addictions, with monsters of arrogance and lust and conceit, and concealment devices where we keep it even from ourselves. No? And so we'll look today at how to do this, how to reveal your secret, one, to yourself and to others, and that way grow holistically. Because it's okay to not be okay. We live in a society where they tell us you have to be perfect. No? But it's okay to not be perfect. No? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. No? But it's not okay to not work on yourself and to try to get better or to better yourself. No? So a brief overview of what we'll discuss today. We'll look at society and media and how there's this hope and hype for happiness, but what they portray or try to sell, it's fleeting happiness, it's shadow happiness, it's not real happiness. And we'll look at how the media has us in its web of lies, in its trap, in its snares, in its talons, in its claws. We'll look at a case study of Tantalus, who was a Greek god, and we'll see the lessons that we can learn from him. We'll also look at men are from Mars and women are from Venus. We'll look at the psychosocial makeup of man, the psychosocial makeup of woman, and we'll see who's better. Is man better or is woman better? No? So quickly, we'll do a quick survey. Who says woman is better? Who says man is better? Who says both are same? Both are same, yet both are different in different ways. So we'll look at that also. One of the things in this class especially is that there's no wrong answers. No? When Edison was asked, why did you not quit? Edison created the light bulb, of course. When he was asked, you tried 9,999 times to make a light bulb and you failed. Why didn't you quit? I mean, how many of us would have quit if that happened to us? No? And Edison said something very interesting. He said that I didn't fail 9,999 times. It's just that on the 10,000th time, it was successful. But every time I apparently failed, I used it as a life lesson. No? So your failures are not failures if you use them to grow, if you use them as a stepping stone to success, no? Which is what we'll look at today. No? We'll also look at the principle of less is more. Before we go to that, I just wanted to ask another question. On the topic of men are from Mars and women are from Venus, is that how do you make a woman beautiful? How do you make a woman look beautiful? Smile. Martha says smile. I say that is a brilliant answer. No? You make a woman beautiful by making her happy. No? Have you seen anybody smile and thought, oh, that person is very ugly? You know? the moment you smile, the moment you're happy, you're naturally beautiful, because it's the nature of the soul to be beautiful. I'm sorry, to be happy. You know? And happiness is a symptom of beauty. You know? So thank you for that, Mark. We'll look at the less is more principle. We'll look at the real superheroes in life. You know? Who are the real superheroes? And in doing research for this, I came, for the first time in my life, I was born in South Africa, raised in South Africa, and my culture is a little bit different to Indian culture. You know? So for the first time in my life, a few months ago, while I was in Goa, I came across a personality. Now I hope I get his name right. A very famous personality, and his name is Rajnikant. Rajnikant? Am I saying that correctly, Rajnikant? And so for the first time, I was introduced to Rajnikant, and I saw a clip of Rajnikant where he's attacking some villain, and which will bring us to the next topic of the difference between knowledge and wisdom. And finally, we'll end with secrets to happiness, but notice the S is in bracket there, no? Means that there's many relative secrets to happiness, but only one absolute tweak, one absolute secret to eternal happiness. Ecstasy, no? Which is what we're looking for. And so, we'll begin today's discourse by looking at a personality from Greek mythology. And this is him, and his name is Tantalus. So Tantalus in Greek mythology is a very interesting personality. Tantalus was born of Zeus, who is said to be the father or the king of the demigods in the Greek and Roman pantheon. And so Tantalus was a very special person who could stay in heaven and also come to the earth planet whenever he wanted. You know? But one day he decided that he wanted to test Zeus. He wanted to test the king of the gods in the Greek mythology. You know? And so he devised a plan. He wanted to test if Zeus was all omniscient and all omniscient, all powerful and all knowing. And so this is what he did. Now remember, this is set some 2,000 years ago, so a different culture. Right? So Tantalus had a son. Tantalus' son's name was Pelops. And Tantalus kills his son. Right? We're not here to judge. No. This is what he did. Right? He killed his son. And with his son, he made a soup. He made a soup out of his son. And he decided to test the gods by inviting all of them to a banquet in the heavenly realm. And so he sets the table, everybody attends, and so he starts dishing it out. You know? And so Zeus, being all omniscient, knew that, no, I shouldn't eat this. No? And all the other demigods there of different levels of power and strength and material knowledge also understood that this is his son, we shouldn't eat that. Everybody except Demeter. Demeter is in Greek mythology is in charge of nature. And what had happened is Hades, the god of the underworld, very similar to our Yamaraj, he stole Demeter's daughter, Persephone, and took her to the underworld, underground, and he married her. So he took her without her mother's permission, and you can imagine when that happens to the mother and daughter relationship is very special. No? And so she's in a state of anxiety and lamentation. And because of this, she doesn't realize that this is Pelops' body that she's going to eat. And she takes a bite of the soup before Zeus can stop her. No? And so that piece that she eats was Pelops' shoulder. Right? So to punish Tantalus, this is what Zeus does. He does two things. The first thing is that he brings his son Pelops back to life. Right? He brings the boy back to life with the body pieces that was in the soup, except for the shoulder, which Demeter ate. And so he puts a piece of ivory there. So eternally that Pelops will be missing a piece of his shoulder, but he'll have a piece of ivory for the shoulder. And so the second thing he did was that he cast Tantalus into hell. He cast Tantalus into hell. And this is the picture you see of Tantalus. He's in hell. And he curses Tantalus that going forward for the rest of eternity, that you are going to be perpetually hungry and perpetually thirsty. Right? Can you imagine being forever hungry and forever thirsty? It's hellish, no? So this is his condition, no? And if you can look at the place in hell where he's positioned, is that he's in a drop of water, which is fresh water, which he can drink. And whenever he puts his hand down to drink the water level recedes. And he comes close to it, but he never quite gets there, right? So he comes close, but almost so close, but yet so far, no? And then delicious fruit hanging above his head. And whenever he reaches up to grab a fruit, he comes ever so close, but the fruit goes away, no? And so, a hellish condition of life, I think you'll agree, no? And like that, there's a word in the English dictionary that derives its root from this mythology of Tantalus. Does anybody know that word? Who said that? Tantalize. No? What does tantalize mean, Rishikesh? Pretty much what's happening to Tantalus now, no? He's being tantalized, no? You get ever so close to the goal, but it's ever so far away, no? There's a saying in the West, bad saying, close but no cigar, no? Tantalizingly close, no? Tantalize means to tease or withhold something, no? And so if you look at life, especially a material life, no? It's like that. We come tantalizingly close to a promise of happiness, but it's always ever so fleeting. Or if we do acquire some degree of happiness, it never ever lasts. It's not eternal. It's fleeting. It's a shadow. It's not the real thing. So it's a common universal thing, no? But society tells us something else, no? Society, media especially, paints a different picture for us. They sell us the hope or hype of happiness. And really, that which they're selling us, we only truly enjoy in the mind, no? Fundamentally, they sell us a lie, but because it's so ingrained and we listen to it for so long, all our lives, we get conditioned to thinking this way. We eat that culture, no? We eat that culture for breakfast and for lunch. And we have tea in my country. I don't know if you'll have tea here. So we eat that culture for breakfast. And we also have brunch and lunch and tea and supper or dinner and a dinner snack also that's there. No? We eat this culture. We eat this lie that just study and after you finish primary school, then you'll be happy. But then you have to do high school. No? After you finish high school, then you'll be happy. Right? They told you that, right? They told me that. But then they said, no, man, you have to get a degree. So you get this piece of paper, then you'll be happy. But then you have to work for a little bit, and then you'll get money, and then you'll generate money, and then you'll be happy. But then you'll need a car, because if you have a fancy car, then you'll be happy. And then the girls will look at you, no? And then if you have a very beautiful girlfriend, then you'll be happy, no? But then one is never enough, no? If you have two girlfriends, then you'll be happy. Then you'll realize you're even more miserable after having two girlfriends, no? Because who knows what women want? Men don't know what women want. And women don't know what women want. And so like that, they sell us this lie, no? And we eat that culture. And sometimes you're only as sick as your secret, but you can't acknowledge it to yourself and to everybody else because the lie is so deeply ingrained. It's etched within your heart that your false ego won't allow you to say that because it hurts. It hurts to say that I've lived a lie, that I'm pretending to be happy, that I'm keeping up with the Joneses, pretending that I pretend I go on holiday. I had a terrible time. But when they asked me in the office, how was your holiday? Oh, it was fantastic. You know, it was marvelous. But it wasn't. It was a lie because to get to the airport, I had to take a taxi. I had to sit in Indian traffic. I had to sit in the Goan heat. Then I had to wait in line to go into a plane. And if you look at a plane is a disgusting place. You know? It's a bunch of strangers coming together and fundamentally, I mean, if somebody passes air on the plane, you know, if somebody farts on the plane, this is what you're breathing in, you know. That's fundamentally what it is, you know. It is not a clean place, you know. And so you're trapped in a prison in this plane for 4 hours, 12 hours if you're going overseas. If there's a connecting flight, it took me 8 hours, 18 hours to get here, you know, with a 12 hours delay, you know. But in the mind, before I got here, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be so fun, you know. Halfway through, I realized this is hell, you know. But I couldn't say that to the people when I came here, you know. How was your plane trip? Oh, it was wonderful, you know. It was great, you know. But it was torture, honestly, you know. But we are only as sick as our secret. And the secret that we hold on, and the secret that we cling to, and the secret that we are force-fed is that money will make you happy. They tell you that, no? And thus, because they tell you that money will make you happy, some people are so poor that all they have is money. Make sense? Yes? And so this is what happens. As everybody knows what this is? Zombie, right? A zombie. We have become a zombie nation, no? A zombie is a corpse, no? But without a pulse, with no heart. Similarly, we're living like this, no? We are a corpse without a pulse because our heart is beating for material things. Empty heart is yearning for something more, but we are filling it with things. And for as long as you fill an empty heart with more things, with more material things, the heart remains empty. No? It remains an empty void with whatever you fill in, it's like a black hole. It just eats and eats and eats, consumes. And this is the nature of lust. The nature of lust is to take. But yet the nature of love is to give. No? But we are in a society consumed by lust, consumed by taking. No? It said that today's society, it said that we cherish things. No? We cherish things. iPod, iPad, iPhone, I, me, and mine. No? We're in a society that cherishes things. And we use people to get things. A civilized society cherishes people and uses things. We have it backwards, no? But this is our culture. Modernization that we call civilization. No? Fundamentally, it's like being no different than a Neanderthal, a caveman, running around with bow and arrow. No? And today, we dressed in bow tie, but with that mentality of the caveman with bow and arrow. No? Or what can I eat? No? How can I enjoy? No? And we have that mentality. No? And for as long as we imbibe this program that they're selling us, we will never truly be happy, no? Because of the yearning and crying of the heart. But all we're doing is feeding the belly. Now, what I'm saying is not giving up anything, which we'll look at the principle of less is more, addition by subtraction. What I'm saying is not give anything up, which we'll explain. No? I'd like to end this slide by asking a question. No? In today's society, in the 21st century, Right? We're very proud of this, the 21st century. Right? In the 21st century, what is the most mass-produced thing in society? Tension. I agree with that. Tension. Fear. But now, when I'm talking about a thing, I mean an actual tangible thing that we can see. Yes, ma'am? Sorry? That's there also. You can see an idiot also. There's an interesting analogy I heard. It said that never argue with a stupid, I don't like the word stupid, but with an imbecile, no? Because one, they'll drag you down to their level and they'll beat you by experience, no? And externally, you'll never tell the difference between an intelligent person and a fool in an argument, no? Because they have more experience and they'll beat you due to that experience, no? And the other interesting thing I heard is that don't fight with a pig. Don't fight with a pig. See, when you fight with a pig, it means you sling mud at each other, no? And so when you fight with a pig, both of you get dirty, no? So both of you get dirty, but the thing is, the pig enjoys it, no? So sometimes we sling the mud of harsh and abrasive words, and that's less intelligent, no? Intelligence means to step back, to be introspective, to bite your tongue, because it's better to trip over your feet than on your tongue, because that which is said cannot be unsaid, no? And the human spirit is fragile, no? So don't break somebody's heart. Don't break their hopes and dreams, no? So we should be careful what we say, because words are weapons, no? Sorry, I went off on a tangent a little bit. I apologize. So I was saying, all of what you said, correct, all right? I fully 100% agree with that. The other thing that we are producing on a massive scale is garbage. Because why? Because we are garbage culture. We're eating garbage in that which we are listening to and imbibing and giving to our children. And two, we are producing garbage. Literally and metaphorically. Metaphorically, if you look at the things on television today, what nonsense things they are. No? It's not uplifting for the consciousness. Literally, all you have to do is, even Goa being such a clean state compared to the rest of India. The other day I went for a run on the beach in Panjim, and I stepped into a dog. Now, I'm not phrasing the sentence incorrectly. I stepped into a dog. I had my earphones on, and so I get into the zone when I run, the running zone. And I wasn't paying attention, and I stepped into a dog that was on a beach that died maybe 2 weeks ago and decomposed, and my whole foot went into it, And it'll just lie on the beach until the crows are finished pecking on it, And if you look at Panjim Beach, which is a beautiful beach, but it's spoiled by all the garbage there, because I noticed something very interesting, that people eat something and then eat and throw. It's a garbage culture, What is the legacy you're setting for children that are seeing you doing that? To come here, I came on the bus. It says, no spitting. Should adults be told not to spit in a bus or out the window? No? What are you doing? No? We are garbage culture. And when people do these things, it lowers the consciousness of one themselves and everybody else. No? So we have to be conscious of our consciousness. And that which you do, so many people are watching you, And if young people who are like sponges see that, that's the culture they're eating. And this is what they'll teach to do at children. That eat and throw, no? Who cares? One of the problems with society, we're enjoying ourselves to death. We are enjoying ourselves to death. To death. They tell us that money will make us happy, fame will make us happy, and external beauty will make us happy. Right? Another case study that I came across. These are two very famous people in India. At the top, a former Miss India. I believe her name is Nafisa Joseph. Now, if you look at her life, right? She's a former Miss India. Obviously externally beautiful in terms of what society defines as what beauty to be, right? So externally very beautiful, very famous, very rich, a very successful model. But in 2004, in a hotel room in Mumbai, Nafisa Joseph committed suicide, right? Below her, Jia Khan. Jia Khan was a rising Bollywood actress, rising star, who was betrayed by the person that she loved and also committed suicide. And so I'll just quickly read her suicide note. I thought it was very, very sad, but something that we can learn from. You know? And this is what she said just before she decided to take her own life. Now remember, a rising Bollywood star, almost worshipped, right? Externally beautiful, money, fortune, everything that they tell us will make us happy. This is her suicide note. I don't know how to say this to you, but I might as well now, as I have nothing to lose. I've already lost everything. If you're reading this, I might have already left or am about to leave. I'm broken on the inside. These days, I see no light when I wake up. I wake up not wanting to wake up. I cannot eat or sleep or think or function. I'm running away from everything. The career is not worth it anymore. And these were her last words before she killed herself. 42.5% of corporate Indian employers suffer from depression. No? Because you see, in this world that has gone mad for high tech, no? We want the latest in everything in gadgets and technology. We have forgotten about high touch. High touch means the hand of God. No? We have forgotten about a spiritual practice. No? We're starting to live in a society that has become chained to those things that are meant to give us freedom. No? How many people have a smartphone here? Please raise your hands. Have a smartphone. Right? I also have a smartphone. Right? And so how many people use a smartphone to make phone calls? Please raise your hand. So I'll tell you, I barely make a phone call anymore. Maybe twice in a day, I will use my phone to make a phone call. No? Generally, a lot of the time I use my smartphone for WhatsApp. I use my smartphone for YouTube. I use my smartphone to connect with, basically your smartphone allows you to connect with anything around you within the environment. No? It's made the universe a smaller place. No? And is a smartphone good or bad? Yes, according to how you use it. No? A knife can be dangerous in the hand of a thug. No? He can kill you or she can kill you. But in the hand of a surgeon, can liberate you and uplift you. No? Because they can save you from cancer, for example, using that same knife, that same cutting instrument. So it's not that we give all these things up, it's we use it to elevate consciousness. So don't become chained to your attachments. No? Don't become possessed by your possessions. And so those things that we use for communication has resulted in a society communicating less, or rather saying less. I'll give you an example. Many people on WhatsApp, now I'm not judging anybody, right? I'm just giving a social commentary. Many people on WhatsApp post what they eat, you know? Or post what they're doing. Standing in line at the airport, you know? Just ate just ate paneer tikka masala, you know? And so is that uplifting? Now, do this as an experiment. Today we'll have dinner. Let's say we have rice, dal, and paneer sabji. Are you going to go out and shout in the streets, just ate paneer tikka masala with rice dal and sabji, hashtag delicious? Are you going to do that? Why? Because people will think you're insane. But it's okay to do that on social media, you know? Take the picture of that, upload. Now, you can use social media in another way, you know? You can use it to uplift a socially uplifting message, you know? Like a verse from Bhagavad Gita, for example. Or an activity that you performed to help humanity. Instead of throwing papers on Panjim Beach, you can video yourself and your friends, get a group together, and picking up all the people, all the garbage on Panjim Beach. You know? And then post that on YouTube, post that on Instagram. You know? So the same thing, you can either use it to bring yourself lasting happiness and others, meaning in life, or you can use it to communicate but say so little, or say nothing at all. This is the amazing phenomena that is taking place today. We say more and more about less and less. Who cares what you had for breakfast? No? So we're communicating so much, but saying less. No? We teach Bhagavad Gita in a university in Goa, and when we drive into the university, you see a whole group of friends sitting together. And this is the posture of the student in its environment. That's it, no? There is absolutely no communication, interpersonal communication, because they're becoming programmed to use the robot to become a robot. So they're not even speaking to each other, no? And that's dangerous, no? And fundamentally, we're losing personalism. We're losing an interaction with society and nature. When have we stopped to smell the roses? No? When have we done that? When have we stopped to appreciate the sunrise or the sunset? And can you imagine what an amazing phenomena is taking place? A giant ball of burning fire, which if moved out of its orbit by a fraction, will incinerate the entire universe. A ball of giant flaming gas spinning on its orbit, rotating around another planet that you live on, a blue planet, by the way, covered in 70% of water, and yet it's not getting flooded. A giant ball of gas rotating on its own orbit, rotating around the orbit of a blue planet, which we call Earth, and it's every day we see this miracle happen, and yet we take it for granted. Every day is a miracle, no? Every breath you take is a miracle. Look how beautiful the design of the body is. When you inhale, it goes to the nostrils, right? Doctor, where's the next place the breath goes from the nostrils? Trachea into the lungs, from lungs into the alveolus. Alveolus to the capillaries of the blood. It goes into tiny microscopic organisms, which are the cells of the body. And the cells are as complex as a city. Yes, doctor? As complex, or maybe even more complex as a city, the cell, a microscopic organism, is as complex as the universe itself. Within this microscopic organism is cytoplasm, is ribosomes, is chromosomes. The oxygen is going through diffusion of osmosis. Diffusion of carbon dioxide is taking place. The mitochondria within the cell is using this to create energy, the powerhouse of the cell. This is a universe. This is a miracle. And yet we have the arrogance and audacity to say that there is no God. The fact that everything is ranked and ordered and there's rhyme and reason, the sun rises at a specific time. Oxygen goes into your body in a specific way. Where are your taste buds? On your tongue. There's an in hole and there's an out hole, no? Right? Food goes in one hole and it comes out another hole, right? The body is designed like that. Your taste buds are on your in hole, right? They're not somewhere else, right? Yes? Because this is intelligent design. And intelligent design implies an intelligent designer. No? But we take all of these things for granted. No? So which brings me to my next point, which is the less is more philosophy. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying give all of these things up. No. One, don't over-acquire things, right? And we're going to look at that in a little bit more detail in a very fun way, I think. Well, it's fun for me anyway. It's not that we give anything up. Whatever we have, we use to uplift our consciousness, and we use to uplift others people's consciousness also. But don't hoard onto things. You know? If you have 20 pairs of shoes, for example, if you don't use something within the cycle of 1 month, it's understood that there's a 75% probability that you won't use it again. So we hold on to things that we don't really need. So addition by subtraction means let go of those things that you don't really require. Give it to charity. No? Donate it. And then that way, you'll have more peace of mind by letting go to unhealthy attachments that you have. No? Sometimes it may be a behavior, unhealthy addiction that you have. By letting go of that, by subtracting that from your life, you're adding peace of mind. You're adding tranquility. You're adding happiness and value to your life. No? And this is the identity crisis that we are having, is that we don't know the meaning of life, because the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Make sense? Yes? And so we're thinking that the more I acquire, the happier I'll get. No? The more I get, the happier I am. The more stuff I acquire, the happier I am. But that's not necessarily true. Harvard did a very interesting study, and the psychologist there that published the study, he found that when society comes to a certain level of acquiring material things, anything above that doesn't bring any more happiness, it brings more anxiety. Addition by subtraction, right? Fundamental things we need in life. You need to have decent health care. You need to have food in your life. No? You need that peace of mind and that stability. But fundamentally, I know it's different for different people, but when you start acquiring too many things, then it becomes a problem. Then that what you have causes anxiety for yourself. There's a saying in the West, no? We like acquiring more and more things, no? So there's a saying that, just before we get to that, I like this. When I saw this, I really liked this. Oh, master, is it proper for a monk to use email? Sure, as long as there are no attachments. Attachments, right? Mm-hmm. And so like that, sorry, the point I was making before this was the more you acquire doesn't necessarily mean the happier you'll be. And this is what the West and media and society is teaching, you know? That I come from a place that teaches you need 2 cars, no? You need 2 houses. You need the house you live in and a holiday house, no? You need 2 cell phones, no? Fundamentally, it's too much, no? You always need more and more, and it's giving you less and less peace of mind, no? And so you see also is that there's this principle of new is better, no? And cell phone apps are always being updated. So new phone every 2 years in the West, new car every 4 years, new house every 8 years, and new wife every 10 years. It's true, because when the model gets too old, you have to upgrade. No? Now it's a 40 or 50-year-old version. No, can't have this anymore. No, we got to get a 21-year-old version, no? Or a 30-year-old version. No? Because why? Because we're attached to externals. No? We're attached to things. No? Which is why we need to die. In order to live, we need to die. We need to die to the falsity of this life, to the falsity of things are going to make you happy. We need to learn how to die to not being possessed by our possessions, to not be owned by ownership. No? And so like this, one to understand that all these things, see, it's not that they're not nice. It's not that we throw them away. It's understand that in the long term, they'll make you relatively happy, no? But it's not eternal happiness. It's fleeting happiness. So I'm not saying give these things up. No. I'm saying use them in moderation and use them to uplift yourself, not degrade yourself. No?